Started off with President William Ruto as he declares himself Kenya's best ever president, launches Nithi Bridge construction plans. And President William Ruto has boldly proclaimed himself the most accomplished leader Kenya has ever had, citing nearly 3 decades of political experience, academic credentials, and youthful energy as the reasons behind his performance-driven leadership style. Speaking at State House, Nairobi, on Monday, during a meeting with leaders from Tharaka Nithi County, the president said his unique blend of experience leaves him with no excuse but to deliver for the people of Kenya. And reflecting on his journey from humble beginnings as a roadside chicken vendor to commander-in-chief, President Ruto said his lived experience had sharpened his understanding of the challenges ordinary Kenyans face. And in a symbolic note to Kenya's political legacy, Ruto said he had drawn inspiration from all 4 of his predecessors. And I quote, "I have Jomo Kenyatta's courage, Moi's understanding, Kibaki's education, and the development plan I shared with Uhuru. With that combination, I have no excuse but to transform the nation," the head of state stated. As part of that transformation agenda, Ruto announced that procurement for the long overdue reconstruction of the infamous Nithi River will begin immediately. The bridge, a notorious accident black spot since its construction in 1985, has claimed hundreds of lives over the years. Here is the president, would we call it just stamping at State House, Nairobi.
Kama namna gani? Mimi nimesoma ya kutosha. Hatujawahi kuwa na daktari ambaye ni rais wa nchi. Mimi ni mtu naelewa. Mimi nimezaliwa huko mashinani. Sasa shida ya Kenya mimi naelewa. Sasa mimi nitasema nimekosa kufanya hii kazi kwa sababu gani? I have no reason. I don't have an excuse. So I have to do the difficult job. Hii kazi yote ambayo mimi nafanya, kazi ngumu, ni kwa sababu there has never been an opportunity for a person with the experience I have, with the education I have, with the knowledge I have in Kenya. So I must do it. I have combined all my predecessors, you know. I have the courage of Jomo. I have the understanding of Moi. I have the education of Kibaki. And I have the plan we shared with Uhuru Kenyatta. I have no excuse than to do everything that needs to be done in this nation. Transforming our health provision, transforming our infrastructure development, that is the assignment that I have. Na ni miaka miwili tu peke yake. Tell me what's going to happen in 5 years. Tell me what's going to happen in 10 years. Tell me what's going to happen in 20 years. You will not recognize Kenya because it will be a different place. Because of housing. Hii Nithi Bridge mimi nitatengeneza. Inahitaji shilingi bilioni 7, ni pesa nyingi. Hiyo bridge inatangazwa kesho. Na nimesema hiyo bridge lazima ikamilike kabla ya uchaguzi. Mimi sitaki.
That the changes we have had in this country have never been experienced under any regime. It is only a miracle that you came in when the shilling was at 169 exchange rate, and today it's at 130. Nobody talks about it. Yet, we know Kenya, 70% of what we use here is imported, and therefore shilling is very important.
From that now to the Deputy President, Kithure Kindiki government to fast-track market construction grants for small traders. And Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has assured Mama Mboga and other small-scale traders that the government is accelerating construction of modern markets and provision of grants in a bid to boost their businesses and raise income. The Deputy President said the 400 modern markets under construction across the country is in line with the realization of the administration's bottom-up economic transformation agenda geared at improving the lives of the majority of Kenyans, especially women, who are the bedrock of the nation's economy. Speaking on Monday, when he hosted over 5,000 women from Meru County at home in Irondwoni, Tharaka Nithi County, the DP said the nation's economy is vibrant because of tireless efforts by those at the bottom. And Meru County is a beneficiary of 21 markets meant to dignify the working places of millions of mama mboga and other traders. The biggest of the 400 will be the Gakoromone in Meru town, costing 800 million Kenyan shillings. Others are in Kianjai, Nkubu, Maua towns. Now, with the government rolling out empowerment programs to boost MSMEs countrywide, the DP encouraged the women to take advantage of them by registering groups for easier funding. Here is the Deputy President speaking in Tharaka.
Meru hoye! Na hii Meru tunajenga, nimesema 21 markets kila constituency. Wakati saa hii tunaongea, masoko mengine imeanza kujengwa, yale mengine tuko tayari kuanza, na kufikia mwaka huu mwisho, in the next 6 months, masoko hayo yote 21 yale mengi yatakuwa yamekamilika, ili muyatumie kama wanabiashara wadogo wadogo huku mashinani, sana sana akina mama. Na wale wengine wanapiga kelele huko kwa sababu hata wao walikuwa kwa viti kubwa kama hii yangu. Si watakuja hata hao? Na wao waulize, siku ile ulikuwa na crown, ulileta mradi gani? Si hiyo ndio mashindano tunataka? Kila mtu ajitetee na kazi yake. Mimi nitajitetea. Mimi siwezi anguka mtihani. Fire si fire. Noma si noma.
And away from that, now to Oparanya. Defends a hustler fund against politically motivated KHRC report. And the cooperatives and micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs Development Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya has defended the hustler fund against criticism from a Monday report by the Kenya Human Rights Commission, dismissing it as skewed, elitist and politically motivated. KHRC warned that the program is a recipe for financial failure, as it lacks a sustainable plan to empower Kenyans at the bottom of the pyramid as earlier intended. According to the rights body, scrapping the program is the only viable option for the Kenyan government, as reforming or re-engineering the fund will not address the fundamental design, political and legal flaws that have haunted it since its inception in November 2022. And in response, Oparanya accused KHRC of using flawed data and biased methodology to discredit the fund, which he said had made significant strides in expanding financial inclusion since its launch in late 2022. Here are the full details to the story.
I now officially launch the Hustler Fund for the Republic of Kenya.
It's a flawed system. It's a flawed fund. Reasons have been outlined why it is flawed and why it is therefore unsustainable.
By December 2023, over 9.6 billion had been disbursed, yet there was no measurable impact on the enterprise development or job creations. Loan sizes ranging from 500 to 1,000 were too small to start or grow businesses. Repayment terms of 14 days were unrealistic.
And this fund is still working. We're still giving out money. It's like putting money in a bottomless dark pit.
And this is one example of how Parliament has undermined the Constitution. Because if you read the Constitution well, there's no way this law should be standing today. That Parliament surrenders its power to a cabinet secretary.
The facts that are there are not genuine, and the fact that you take 2 months and you take the 2 months as the music. The best way, we are 3 years old, we will be.
Now, these are the stories that are making headlines in the dailies, and we started off with a Daily Nation. The headlining story goes as State House spy software dealers passport revoked. And spying software, Canadian Mary Washuka, who has sued 4 senior government officials, including the head of public service and the president's speech writer, over a botched 123 million spying software software deal has protested that authorities have cancelled her Kenyan passport. She has linked the action to the high-stakes suit, alleging an attempt to arm twist her into dropping her claim. That is a story that you'll find on pages 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation this morning. Tycoons buy into 45 billion driving licenses contractor. And what is the story about? Well-connected individuals have secured a stake in a company at the center of a 45 billion smart driving license project, raising fresh concerns over the growing footprint of politically connected individuals in lucrative public-private partnership ventures. Official records reveal Firad Abdul Razak and Jabir Abdul Nasir, who have deep links to the establishment, acquired a combined 41.17% stake in Pesaprint, the firm angling for the 21-year multi-billion shilling project. That is a story that you'll find on page 7 of the Daily Nation. And the amount of money that is on stake, 2 billion initial contract sum for the supply of 5 million smart driving licenses. Among other stories, Chief abandons failed system after April. Now the Social Health Insurance Fund will reintroduce biometric identification of patients to replace the troubled one-time password system blamed for delays. And ruling on Kenyan children sired by British soldiers to open Pandora's box. That is on page 3. And among other stories in the Daily Nation this morning, of course, there is your DN2. Today they are talking about Health Nation. And lastly, another story in the Daily Nation in politics. Third Force presents a big test for Ruto, Gachagua, and the proposed Kenya Moja alliance that brings together politicians rebelling from President Ruto, Raila Odinga, and Rigathi Gachagua's camps is expected to complicate the political landscape ahead of the 2027 general election. That story you will find on page 10 of the Daily Nation this morning. From the Daily Nation now to the Standard, Jogo House Wars. That is a headlining story. And a silent but escalating power struggle is paralyzing the Ministry of Education, where Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba is being openly contradicted by his two principal secretaries, who seem too powerful from the guidelines to ghost schools and curriculum policy. The confusion is deepening, leaving parents, students, and members of parliament questioning who really controls the education agenda. That is on page 4 of the Daily Nation. The Cabinet Secretary is pictured in the Standard this morning, and of course his two principal secretaries. Get yourself a copy of the Standard. That is on page 4 to get to read about those stories. And away from that now to Hustler Fund, an economic sinkhole. The civil society wants a Hustler Fund scrapped, citing massive losses, high defaults, and claims of political misuse in a scathing new report. That is on page 6 of the Daily Standard. And 65 billion debt cripples a health fund, and hospitals are owed 65 billion, staff salaries delayed, and millions of patients denied care as shares shaky finance threaten to derail the universal health care dream before it can fully take off. That is on page 6 of the that is on page 8 of the Standard. And today, given it is a Tuesday, the Standard have a pullout on financial matters. So get yourself a copy of that to get to read about all those sumptuous stories. When we come back, we're coming back with your sport, as Uganda was walloped yesterday in the CHAN competition. So keep it Science TV.